Alright, so I'm gonna go over the Mills query database. Um, might move kind of fast, especially on some of like the simpler ones. Most of them are already set up. I'm just gonna kind of go through, explain some little things. I'm trying not to make the video too long. But if you need more explanation or if you still don't understand something, feel free to shoot me a message and I'll break it down more for you. Alright, so the first one says query to find all the restaurants in Naples, Florida. So the first part, make sure you look at your databases, look at the tables to make sure you understand the data you're trying to set a criteria for. Alright, so find all the restaurants in Naples, Florida. Show the restaurant name, street, city, and state. Alright, look here. Alright, so it's already set up, but one thing. So the city is Naples. That's what we're looking for. And state, right here it says Florida. So you can see Florida is spelled out. But if you went in here and you put in Florida like that, you run it, you don't get any results. And the reason you wouldn't get results is because if you look at the restaurant, the states for restaurants are abbreviated. So that's that part of knowing the data you're dealing with. So go in and check, make sure you understand the data so that you can better match it and set a criteria for it. Alright, so instead of spelling out Florida, we'll put FL and we can go to design and run that. And now we get 2 records for that, both for Naples, Florida. And you can also, if you check here, we see query 1, we should have 2 records for that, so we know we're doing that correct. Alright, the next one, 2, create a query to find all the restaurants from Florida and have takeout. Alright, so if we look at this one, so once again we will bring down our fields and we know that we're dealing with Florida, so we will put FL under state for criteria, and it says and have takeout, so Florida and have a takeout. So you can kind of, if you want, like you can highlight certain keywords to help you know. So because it says and, these 2 criteria are going to be on the same line. Our takeout field is a checkbox, meaning it's yes or no. Alright, so if we look under restaurant, takeout only is a checkbox. So checkbox means yes, empty box means no. So that's why we have yes under there and we have Florida under there. They're both in the same line, meaning and. We're not showing takeout only because that's unchecked there. Alright, so that's how you would do that one. Create 3. Find out the restaurant's order made on April 28th. So for this one, we just want to put in that date under order date. Alright, and notice the year 2016. So if you looked at your data, you would notice that all the years are 2016. Alright, so that's something to keep in mind. Alright, so we just type in, we just do 4/28/16. Automatically adds that once you click away. We go to design, we hit run. Alright, so 3 results there. If we look there, query 3, you should have 3 results. We have 4 for query 2. So we're good. So query 4. This one says query to find all the restaurants with orders made on April 27th that exceed $100. If we look query 4. So if we look here, we're trying to do the ones that are exceed 100, exceed meaning greater than $100, or I mean, and the ones that are on this date. and that are over $100. So that's why we have both of those on the same line. Means and we have our date, we have that amount there. So that should be pretty simple. 5 restaurants with order dates in March. All right, and this goes back to using that between to kind of filter. Yeah, we wouldn't want to do it this way. We would say between March 1st, 16, write the word and we'll go March 31st. Alright, so between the first day of March and the last day of March, and this goes under order date. If I run that, we get 5. Checking here, query 5, we should have 5. Alright, so move to the next one, query 6. Zip code less than 341, that should be simple. You're just going to do the less than sign, and then you'll put in that number under zip code. So I'll kind of save some time, skip that. Number 7, find other restaurants that are located in a city named Naples or North Naples. Alright, this is number 7. So Naples or North Naples. And this would probably be the easiest way to do it. You can say Naples, write the word or, and then put North Naples. You could also do it like this if you wanted to. Because this is on the or row, so that means or. So you'll get the same results for both. Whichever way you choose to do it. I would probably do it on the same line and put the or in between, but the choice is yours. Alright, so if we check that one, this query 7, we should have 7 records for that, which is what we have, 7 records. Alright, so let's look at query 8. Query 8, find all the restaurants with websites or that have orders in May. Alright, so we're looking for restaurants with websites or orders in May. So if we look at this one, so we wouldn't do it like that, but we would say May is the 5th month, I believe. And we'll say and this is what you kind of have to be careful with also. If May has 31 days, let me see. Okay, so it does have 31 days, but let's say I put 32. Alright, so let me show you another month. It'll make more sense that way. So if I go February 1st, 2016, and February, say 31st, 16. And so if you ever put more days than what it allows, than what that month has in it, then you'll get this weird kind of date structure here, which you're basically not going to get any results because this date doesn't really exist. So make sure you also always kind of check that to make sure you're putting in the correct number of days for whatever month it is you're entering. Alright, so this one will be 5/1, 16, and 5/1, 31, 16. Alright. And if we run that, we get 22 results. Which we should have 27. Oh, there we go. Never mind, we got 27. I was looking at the other number instead of the N one. So yeah, so we have 27 results, so we're good here. Once again, we have the month between that, and then we have the website. So they either need to meet one of these two criteria. All right, so if we move on to 9. So 9 says show all the restaurants with orders over 100 that is in Florida or over 75 in California. Uh, all right, so we cannot use the word and outside of the between and. So and is not an actual operator that you can use in Access. But you can say or, and or essentially means and because it's on the same line. Because Access is going to read anything that's on the same line as and. Alright, so we're not going to say and, but we're going to say or. That's not. Okay, so that's probably not the way we want to do this. Just trying to do it like that, but alright, so the way that we would probably do this to make it easier is they're asking for Florida. Where is it? Over 100 that's in Florida. So for Florida, we would put over 100 because remember it's going to read across. So say Florida over 100, and then California will do over 75. All right, so it's gonna look for these two factors and then those two factors. If we run that, see, I'm messing up. All right, there we go. So remember, Florida over 100, California over 75. You need to make sure you know the data you're dealing with so that you don't make a lot of silly mistakes. And that's it for that one. 18 records, which is what we have. 18 records. Alright, so we have a couple more. Probably skip some of the easier ones. Show the restaurant name and order date for orders placed on April 26th or 27th or 28th. So you can just put those dates and put the word or in between on the same row. So you can say 4/1 or 4/26/16. Write the word or 4/27 or and then 4/28 for number 10. Show the order number, restaurant name for order amount for restaurant 101. That should be pretty easy. I'll do number 12 because this is easy, but it's kind of tricky. So let me see if this person got it correct. Pull this up. Okay, so they did it correct. You can do it this way. So we're trying to find restaurant name and order amount if the order amount exceeds 100 for these two restaurants, for 127 and 131, which is what they have here. So over 100 for restaurant 131 and 127. Perfectly fine. You can do it that way, or you can do it this way. Alright, so either way works. What's wrong, and what I see some students do, is this. Alright, and that's wrong because for here you have over 100 for 131. But for restaurant 127, there's no criteria for it having to be over greater than 100. So that's why you would get results that are less than 100, which is what would make that one wrong. All right. So you can just do it like that. All right. And remember, everything on the same line means and. Even though you're writing or, it still means and. And that one we have 4 results. So 12, 4 results. Alright, let me see. 13. Show the restaurant's name for orders placed on April 27th and May 4th for restaurants that have a website, or restaurants with takeout only, or restaurants with orders on March 30th. I'll do this one because this is a longer one. Let me see how they did it here. Alright, so let's take a look. Let's break it down. Show the restaurant name for orders placed on April 27th and May 4th for restaurants that have a website. So all this should be on the same line. April 26th, May 4th, and website. So if we take a look, April 26th is here. What was the other date? And May 4th. So we would say May 4th. And then we want ones that have a website. So we can do that like that. That's the first part of it. Alright, and then the or, so now we're on a different row, restaurants with takeout only. So restaurants with takeout only was there. We'll move it up just to fill this space here. But as long as it's on a row by itself, we're good. And then the next or is restaurants with orders on March 30th, which is what we have there. Alright, so this will be the correct way you will want to do this. Alright, so we have those 2 dates and websites together. We have the takeout only, which is another or, and then we have the last or, which is March 30th. And then if we run this, we get 16 records. So 13 should have 16 records there, so we're good. Alright, last 2. Create a query that calculates the lowest, highest average cost for all order amounts. Use a field name low, high, and average. Alright, so this is that statistics that we're going to be creating. Let's see how they did it here. Alright, cool. So they did it correctly. Alright, so I'll kind of redo it just to show you because I know some students have questions on this one. So one way you can do this to kind of set it up faster, I guess. It's going to be dealing with the order amount. So you can bring it down 3 times. That's already, I cut that off, so that's not already there. Alright, so once we have it, then it's just a matter of naming the stat fields that we're doing. So the first one is lowest. We can click the beginning of it, and we'll say lowest lowest amount, colon, and then we have the field that we're trying to find the lowest amount for. All right, we can say highest amount, colon, and the field that we're trying to find the highest amount for, and then average amount. And of course the field that we're trying to find that for. All right, and then we can cut on our totals to be able to figure out that information for us. So lowest would be the min, highest would be the max, not the count, but the max, and average would be the average. And if you run it, you will get that. All right. And if we wanted to, if I told you to group these stats by city, you would add the city field here. You can move it to the beginning, and you see it already says group by. And now we'll get that breakdown basically listed city by city. All right, and then the last one, 15. Show the restaurant name, order amount, create a calculated field called tax increase that displays the order amount multiplied by 10. This field should show the tax increase, including the order amount. All right, so with your calculated fields, you did this in module 3. The book has you using like the builder function to build this calculated field. You can do it that way if you're comfortable with it, but you can also just kind of write it out yourself. It doesn't take a whole lot of knowledge to do that. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so cool. So the first thing that you're going to do when creating a calculated field is you're going to put the name of the new field that you're creating. All right, so the name of the new field we're creating says create a calculated field called tax increase. So that's the first thing we're going to write. Tax increase. Spelled increase wrong. All right, and then we have colon. Now, what are we doing with the tax increase field? What is the calculation in order to get the results? So it wants us to tax increase, it displays the order amount multiplied by 10%. All right, so anytime you're dealing with the field inside of this, so not don't get this confused with the last thing we just did. This is a calculated field. So anytime you're dealing with the field in calculated fields, it needs to be in brackets. All right, so we're gonna say the order amount, that's the field we're dealing with. It's in brackets and it's multiplied by 10%, which is 0.01, I believe. I think that's right. Show the tax increase, including the, okay. So that's how you could do that. And it says including the order amount. So if I just left it like this, then it gives us the increase. But if I want to see this increase applied to the order amount, then I would basically just add the order amount again. So the multiplication is going to happen first, and it's going to give me the increase. And then if I want to add that increase to the order amount, oh, the wrong bracket. So now it shows me that 10% added on top of this order amount here. And that's how you do calculated fields. The first thing is the name of the new field, and then it just kind of turns into simple math after that. Remember, if you're referring to any fields, any of these in your table, then they need to be in brackets. And then it's just a matter of math. All right. But if you guys have any further questions on this, definitely shoot me an email, shoot me a message in my inbox to let me know.